Mutsubishi rubber. This is the instruction manual for the RIPP Type-A+C. RIPP Type-A consists of the mainframe and rubber seal A fixed in place by bolts, retainer A1 and A2. RIPP Type-C consists of the mainframe and rubber seal C fixed in place by bolts and retainer C. An available option is to add a tube in Type-A. As the size of the mainframe becomes larger, the number of the sections of the frame increase. By assembling the sections of the mainframe on site, the mainframe is completed into one ring. Assembly of mainframe. There are two methods for installation of the mainframe. Installation procedure to assemble the mainframe from the bottom. You can choose to install the mainframe by encasing it in the TBM launch portal concrete or by installing it onto the TBM launch portal. First, install the bottom piece of the mainframe at TBM launch portal in the shaft. Next, install left and right pieces. To complete the installation of the frame, install the top piece. The mainframe assembly is now in one complete ring. Installation procedure to assemble the mainframe on the ground. The mainframe is assembled on the ground, lifted into the shaft, and installed at the TBM launch portal. Assemble the mainframe on the ground. Lift the assembled mainframe down into the shaft. Install the mainframe onto the TBM launch portal. Installation procedure of RIPP Type-A+C by Case 2, the methods of assembling on the ground. Weld the individual component parts of the mainframe at the job site. There are two types of methods of welding. The method chosen depends on how the mainframe is to be installed. If the mainframe is being encased in the TBM tunnel portal concrete, the split part division position of the mainframe is the V-shaped bevel for butt welding joint. Connect the individual pieces of the mainframe together by fastening with bolts. If the mainframe is not being encased in the TBM tunnel portal concrete, the division position of the mainframe is the X-shaped bevel for butt welding joint. Connect individual sections of the mainframe together by fastening with bolts. Do not over-tighten the bolts. This may cause the plate to become deformed. Assembled parts of the mainframe should be connected so that there is a flat, level surface without any raised edges and is flush. Install the reinforcement beam of the mainframe. After completing the temporary assembly of the mainframe, measure the dimensions for accuracy. After confirming the mainframe has been assembled correctly, weld the parts of the frame together. Weld correctly per the drawing instructions. Perform non-destructive testing for welded parts if necessary. Completion of welding. After welding has been completed, make sure to finish the following areas with a grinder to ensure the area has a flat surface. Rubber seal mounting area. Optional tube contacting area. Frame connecting area. Do not leave any protrusions on the rubber seal C mounting area and optional tube contacting area. Make sure to finish the area flat. Touch up welded areas with a coat of paint. Since the bolt holes may have become distorted by the heat of welding, check each hole for distortion. Some holes may require to be retapped after welding. Check bolt holes after tapping. Assemble pipes according to the drawing. In case of encasing in concrete, the end of the pipe will be a socket. Handling of rubber seal. If the rubber seal is not installed for a long period of time, apply oil onto the product surface and store it in a cool and dark location indoors. Do not leave the rubber seal in a tight shape that may cause bending or stress. Store it flat without stress. And cover with a sheet. Do not drag the rubber seal along the ground. To prevent damaging the product, carry it with a number of people. Do not lift the rubber seal by wire sling or nylon sling directly. Do not lift from bolt holes of the rubber seal. During Type-C installation work, it's okay to lift the rubber seal C in a vertical shape by nylon sling temporarily to carry the seal to its mounting area. When lifting the rubber seal, use a pipe larger than a 4-inch pipe. Do not lift by one point if the seal is more than 3 meters in diameter. The rubber seal is packed compactly. First, unpack and open the rubber seal. Lift by 2 or more points if the rubber seal is more than 3 meters in diameter. When you hang the rubber seal by 2 points, tie the center of the product with a belt. Or lift the rubber seal using a lifting spreader bar or similar item. Installation of tube for RIPP Type-C. Installation procedure of a Type-C seal. Clean the surface of the tube and rubber seal C. Attach the barbed hose fitting to the tube nozzle. Clean the surface of the mounting area of the mainframe where the rubber seal will be located. Screw the all-thread rod into every third hole of the mainframe. Tighten the bolts by hand only. Do not use any tools or over-tighten. Check the position of the tube nozzle and nozzle of the mainframe and align them if necessary. Insert the all-thread rods into the bolt holes of the tube and temporarily attach the tube onto the mainframe with nuts. Cut the rubber hose that connects to the nozzle 30 centimeters longer than the pipe. The valve unit is delivered pre-assembled from the factory. Connect the valve unit and hose together and secure with 2 bands. Prior to attaching the hose to the valve unit, place 2 bands over the hose. It is easier to connect the barbed hose fitting and hose together if you wet the inside of the hose and surface of the barbed hose fitting using water or a similar lubrication. Slide the cap and rubber plug towards the valve side. Insert the hose of the valve unit into the pipe for the tube and pull it out from the inside of the mainframe. Attach the valve unit to the pipe by connecting the cap and pipe nipple lightly. Cut the hose that was pulled through the pipe and is now inside the mainframe to at least 10 centimeters in length from the wall of the mainframe. Connect the hose and the tube nozzle together and attach with 2 bands in the same connection as valve unit and hose. Pull the valve unit out of the pipe slowly from outside of the mainframe to secure the tube nozzle into the hole of the mainframe. Seal C cannot be attached if the nozzle is protruding inside of the mainframe. Fasten the cap to keep an airtight connection with the rubber plug. Hold the valve unit with a pipe wrench and tighten the cap. This will prevent co-rotation and hose twisting inside the pipe. After connection of the valve unit is completed, check that the tube is airtight. Please prepare an air supply source on site, such as an air compressor. To check only that the tube is airtight, apply less than 0.02 megapascal of air pressure and check that there is no leakage. After integrity of the tube is confirmed, release the air and remove the nut which is used for temporarily attaching the tube. Keep all valves of the tube pressurizing line open. If valves are closed and the tube is sealed, it may generate air pressure inside the tube due to temperature differences. Installation of rubber seal C for RIPP Type-C. Installation procedure of rubber seal C. Attach rubber seal C by putting the bolt hole through the all-threaded rod and fasten by nut temporarily. Attach retainer C by putting its center hole through the all-thread rod and fasten temporarily with a nut. Install bolts into remaining bolt holes. Mainframe, tube, rubber seal C, and retainer C are attached by installing bolts through 4 continuous bolt holes. Fasten the bolts by hand or using a wrench. Do not use an impact wrench. If the bolts are fastened too tightly, you will not be able to adjust the alignment of the other bolt holes. Do not over-tighten. If a screw hole becomes damaged during installation, re-tap the hole. Secure the remaining holes in retainer C with bolts. Replace all thread rods used to temporarily hang the tube and seal with bolts and tighten. If there is a retainer C too, attach all of them with bolts. Make 2 passes around the circumference of the frame, tightening the bolts twice. Tighten the bolts from several locations simultaneously around the circumference of the frame. The torque recommended is 50 Newton per meter. After the seal has been installed, the rubber of the seal may relax, and some connections may become loose. After 24 hours, retighten all bolts, again at multiple locations simultaneously, around the circumference of the frame. Type-C installation is completed. Installation of rubber seal A for RIPP Type-A. Installation procedure of seal Type-A. Install scaffolding according to the site's working environment. Clean the surface of the mounting area of the mainframe. Clean the surface of the mounting area of rubber seal A. Installation of rubber seal A. Installation of optional tube for RIPP Type-A. Installation procedure of the tube for Type-A seal. Clean the mainframe and surface of the mounting area of the tube, just as in the installation of rubber seal A. Check the position of the nozzle of the tube and attach the tube to the mainframe. Installation of rubber seal A. Installation of retainers for RIPP Type-A. Installation of retainer A1. Attach retainer A2 and fasten with a nut. Make sure to attach retainer A2 flapper so that it bends towards the direction the TBM will be moving. Make 2 passes around the circumference of the frame, tightening the bolts twice. Tighten the bolts from several locations simultaneously around the circumference of the frame. The torque recommended is 50 Newton per meter. After the seal has been installed, the rubber of the seal may relax and some connections may become loose. After 24 hours, retighten all bolts, again at multiple locations simultaneously, around the circumference of the frame. Installation of mainframe. After installation of the rubber seal is completed, install the mainframe on the TBM launch portal in the shaft. Remove the reinforcement H-beam that was welded onto the mainframe by gas cutting. It is essential that you protect the rubber seal, and especially the tube sufficiently, as they're easily damaged by fire. To prevent damage of rubber seal by sparks, make sure to cover the seal and tube with a fireproof sheet and pour water into the area, especially at the bottom side of the mainframe. Take care not to let cut pieces of the H-beam fall down onto the rubber seal and tube, as this may damage the seal and tube. Once the H-beam has been removed, finish the cut area of the beam with a grinder to ensure a flat surface. If you will not use a tube for Type-A, it is okay to leave approximately 2 centimeters remaining after removing the H-beam. If a tube is being installed, make sure to finish the area so that it is flat. Touch-up painting. Connect the hose and nozzle of the tube in the same manner as the connection of Type-C tube nozzle. If the position of the tube nozzle and H-beam are too close to each other, making it difficult to protect the tube during cutting of the H-beam, as shown, connect the nozzle of the tube after cutting the H-beam. If there is enough distance between the H-beam and the nozzle of the tube, and if it is possible to protect the tube during the cutting of the H-beam, complete the connection of the tube nozzle when assembling the mainframe on the ground. Check that the tube of Type-A is airtight using the same procedure used for checking of Type-C. To check only that the tube is airtight, apply less than 0.02 megapascal of air pressure and check that there is no leakage. After integrity of the tube is confirmed, release the air and keep all valves for the pressurizing line that are connected from the tube open. Apply grease or oil on the surface of the rubber seal. However, for rubber seal A, apply grease just before the TBM launch. Installation of RIPP Type-A+C is complete. When installing the mainframe and the rubber seal in the TBM shaft, install scaffolding or man lift. Operation of tube. Guidelines for pressurization of tube and pressure control. Install the operation unit for tube pressurization of Type-C or Type-A. When the TBM is set inside of the mainframe, and prior to launching, pressurize the tube. The tube is operated by water pressurization. Switch the pump on and open the relief valve to verify that water is being supplied. Close the relief valve and open the tube pressurization line valve to begin filling the tube with water. Open the air relief valve at the top of the frame to release all air that may be in the tube. Once water begins to discharge from the air relief valve, close the air relief valve. When the tube is filled with water, close the pressurization line valve and stop the pump. When the tube inside is filled with water, pressurization of the tube is completed. Pressurize the tube for Type-C to equal the TBM shield diameter plus 5 meters of water head. Type-C tube pressure setting is completed. Close the pressurizing line valve and stop the pump. During TBM excavation, the tube pressure fluctuates in response to external pressures such as groundwater and TBM face pressure. Tube pressure should be controlled within a pressure difference of plus 0.15 megapascal or lower from the external pressure encountered at the tunnel center elevation. When the rubber seal transfers from the TBM shield to the segments, the pressure of the tube decreases slowly. Pressurization of the tube should be adjusted so that it is higher than the external pressure encountered. For Type-C, it is not necessary to adjust the pressure of the tube because once the rubber seal is operated, it seals automatically by using the external pressures incurred. We at Mutsubishi Rubber will continue to provide safe, secure, and reliable products to all customers.